You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Chris, the Heralds are back for a second time on our week off. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 277 of the Battered Heralds podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, as always, Mr. KBD. How are you doing, sir?
Well, you're right about that. Like, this is supposed to be our week off, and like we do two impromptu shows. This is ridiculous. I had to bring out.
We never record Fridays.
I had to bring out the sweater weather out here because I'm not going to be able to wear this for a game this weekend. So
And for those of you that don't live in Miami and are watching this, just know that it's like 70 degrees outside, and Chris's little baby ass decided he needed to cover up. So.
Listen, if it was up to me, I'd go out shirtless. I got no problem with that. You know
all right.
that.
So we are here impromptu after our last impromptu show because, well, we found out that Miami has apparently landed on their replacement for Tata Martino. Now, do you want to start talking about Mascherano immediately, or do you want to cover a little bit of the Tata that we heard about today and how he knew beforehand and all that other stuff?
I think it wouldn't be fair to talk about this new coach
Mascherano
before we talk about what was said from Tata's perspective.
Right. So let's put a bow on the Tata talk, and then we'll move to Mascherano. So go ahead. What do you want to let us know about Tata? Because I didn't listen to the press conference, honestly.
So, yeah, I mean, I was paying attention to the press conference, and there's a couple things that I kind of wanted to talk about, right? So, like, the whole idea is he's leaving for personal reasons, right? One of the main things that stood out to me, chat, and I don't know if you guys heard this, but he mentioned that he made this decision a week, what was it? Before the series. He made the decision before the series. And this is exactly what I messaged our group chat with Tommy one time. For those of you that are on audio, Tommy ATL, Tommy one time is chiming in the comments saying, who the fuck is this guy? That was my best Conor McGregor. Sorry if I offended anybody from
Irish.
What is it? Ireland?
Irish.
Yeah, sorry. You guys have a really cool accent. So he made the decision before the series. I mean, Danny, how do you feel about that? Stepping into a series, getting into the playoffs, he's made the decision he's leaving, supposedly.
But I told you that was a possibility. I believe it. I told you that there was a possibility that before the playoffs, he might have made the decision that he was going to ride into the sunset as a champion. Because I think him and every player in that locker room's mind, they were going to win it all. And he probably thought, I'm going to ride onto the sunset. I'm going to win it all like I did with Atlanta and then go on to greener pastures to retire or do whatever else. So I don't doubt that was true. I don't doubt it.
Well, Angel's here saying might have had an impact on the game.
Nah,
Mez is saying we sold the MLS Cup. Listen, Danny, there's no way. Listen, he answered the question. Somebody asked him, do you think that it affected you in the playoff run? He immediately answered no. How are you going to say
why would that affect
you? Dude, how? First of all, why would you come to... So, like, okay, let's play the hypothetical here, Danny. What if we would have won this series and moved on?
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that he's had it decided that he made this decision to leave during the most critical time of our season. You think that that's really something that...
Did he come out and say what the personal reason was?
No, he just said he has to go back to Rosario and he's going to be incognito for a couple months.
So it might have been something that happened earlier, and he said, "You know what? I should probably go back to Argentina now, but I think I could ride this out until December 7th because December 7th was the final."
That's bullshit. If it's so personal, if it's so important, and maybe this is just me gasbagging here.
It is.
Like if it's so important, then you need to board a plane and go.
Oh yeah, could you imagine what you would be saying right now if Tata left us right before the playoffs?
Well, I mean, you won't be able to question the criticality.
Well, obviously, but look, it could be a personal decision, but it doesn't have to be life or death either. It could be like, okay, something's going on, and you know what? I should probably put my focus into that. And after December 7th, that's where my focus is going to be. It doesn't have to be life or death.
Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just going a little extreme here, but like, I'm not telling you I'm not being extreme. I'm not. I am fully owning that. It just seems to me like if you state personal reason and then you made the decision before the playoffs started, that to me, I don't like it. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe I'm
Dax
just looking too
McCarty
much
did
into
it. Nobody's talking about Dax McCarty. Ray Lewis did it. Plenty of people say, like, after the season, I'm done.
Look, listen, and Bigote's right here saying you're on extreme. He had his minds on other things. Clearly.
People decide that they want to be done after a year all the time. People say, like, this is my last season. This is my last season. So he decided this was his last run. I don't think it was that big a deal.
All right. Okay. So let's finish that, right? Now, on top of that, so he mentioned it 5-6 days after the elimination. We get eliminated, and that's when he first decided to tell Jorge Mas, Messi, and used car salesman, Raul Sanlehi. Mm-hmm. Okay. Finally broke the news 5 days after getting eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that acceptable?
I mean, do you really think? Look, you could play this both ways. Maybe he wasn't sure, and it's something that he was like, I'm probably gonna do this, but let me write it out, and then it ended up earlier than he thought. Like, I don't. Who cares? It's done. I don't care about the timeline of when he told people. You have to dig it. That's where all the details are, Danny. That's where you're gonna find the nooks and crannies and the of what he's gone now. What does it matter? He's gone. It does
matter because listen, Francisco's saying it right here. Tata left Atlanta for personal reasons, and 3 months later was coaching Mexican national team.
Okay, so maybe he was ready to be done with Miami.
How personal?
Who cares?
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, we'll keep going. So far, like, I'm getting really upset with this, with the whole meeting that he's having, right? So he tells them between Friday and Saturday last week, apparently from what Jorge Mas said, Saturday. And immediately the minute after, Jorge Mas says that they went onto the drawing board and started putting names together and finding coaches and stuff, right? Literally a minute later. That's what you said in the press conference, right? Then, on top of that, you're telling me that he then told the players on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, he told the players, Danny.
Okay.
This past Tuesday.
Why do you care?
What do you mean?
I didn't think that this is good. Okay.
Because
it didn't make a difference in the outcome. I respect the fact that he did it quick enough, so the fact we could hire somebody else before all those big decisions on the roster are made before next week. Like, I mean, if this was gonna happen, then I'm glad it happened already.
And Bigote's here. Look, Bigote's down there with the magnifying glass with me. We're searching, baby. Right? He said they immediately had 3 meetings with coaches.
So does that make it seem like the coaches, like the heads up, weren't prepared for this? It sounds like they were prepared. It sounds like maybe they knew more than.
It sounds like it's a crock of crap, is what it is. It's not personal. You got booted. You mentioned, not you, but Tata mentioned something about playing 4 in the back or 5 in the back as things like he did that was sort of bad, arguably, right? And then Mas later mentions about how he doesn't care about 4 in the back, 5 in the back. He wants to score goals. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to push the pace. You're telling me that that's not a straight shot, bang, from Jorge Mas to your boy Tata?
No, because Tata was aggressive. I think everybody was upset because he was too aggressive. And if that's really what Jorge Mas wants, he went the wrong way, because that's not what Mascherano is going to give you. And honestly, I don't know why Jorge Mas is talking about his football ideologies and how he wants his team to play. My understanding is that he's never been a football brain, so I don't even know why he's talking about this stuff.
He literally said in the press conference, he's like, I don't care about 4 in the back, 5 in the back. It sounded like he doesn't even want defense. He just wants goals and scoring as an aggressive, which, I mean, granted, you have the best team in the MLS and one of the most powerful attacking teams in the MLS. So, of course, it's easy to say, I don't want defense. I don't care about 4 back and the 5 back and the blah, blah, blah. Listen, at the end of the day, this was not personal reasons. I deciphered the whole thing for you, Danny. Not personal reasons. Tata got dumped. He got booted. He got canned. He got told, kick rocks, buddy.
I only got to see some of the quotes from today's press conference. And the one that kept popping up, which I thought was weird that it kept popping up, was Jorge Mas says Messi will probably play past the 2025 season. Duh. Like, okay.
I mean, he's
how the hell is
that?
But who the hell? Like, everybody said that was going to happen. Look, if Messi randomly decides to leave for personal reasons before 2026, I promise you it's going to be something that is going to catch Jorge Mas with his pants down, because him, like everybody else, expects him to be there in 2026. I thank you for telling me that. Like, it was so stupid. And then even more stupid that everybody's like, I got to tweet this out. Going to get the clicks. Like, everybody knows this already. Like, we expect him to play in 2026. Stop tweeting it. We get it.
Well, I could tell you right now, you're going to see a lot more chicken heads cut off in Hialeah more so than ever, because that's something that for sure he is brewing and hoping happens. Right? Because, I mean, look, everybody thinks it's a guarantee.
What are you talking about?
Because, listen, everybody thinks it's a guarantee.
Chicken?
Yeah.
What?
With the brujeria stuff? Are you kidding me? Listen, this whole 2025 thing is not a guarantee, Danny. We got this guy, or 2026, this guy, Mascherano, whatever.
Mascherano.
It's not a lock that we're going to be a successful team next year. Don't get it twisted. Like, Messi might get him to have personal reasons next year.
Well, and that's what I want to get into. So whenever you're ready to move off of the press conference today, we get into
it. Fine. Alejandro with a freaking super slam, $4.99. Thank you so much. Alejandro says, I think Tata doesn't like MLS money limitations. He mentioned it like 4 times in the press conference. Listen, I think no coach likes limitations.
Well, I mean, when you're coaching Inter Miami, you have the least amount of limitations of any other teams in the league. So I don't see why that would be a big deal for him, but whatever.
All right, let's get off. Fine. No more Tata. Tata's old news. We end up getting go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
No, this is what I was gonna ask. I wanted to ask, and I want to ask the chat, right? We only have 85 people in here right now, but I wanted to ask the chat. For those of you that were Tata out, if you knew that the option was Tata's out, but this is who we're gonna get, who would you choose? Would you choose to stick with Tata another year, or would you be okay with Mascherano? And we're gonna get into the whole Mascherano and what we think about the hire. But I'm curious to see what the chat thinks, and then I'll pose it to you also, Chris, because you were also an asshole that seemed to jump on the Tata out movement at some point.
No.
So, and I see a lot of people putting Tata, because if you would have known that was the option, then what would you have chosen for all? Where's Mike V? I hope Mike V jumps on here before we get on.
Oh, he's not here. He's not here. He's at the end of a bottle at this point. Are you kidding me? With this guy that we just got? Angel. Come on, guys. $3.99. Just click the thumbnail or click the thumb that's on the bottom. It's literally costing you $0 and 0 cents.
So I want to know, and I see most people putting Tata. I haven't seen one person.
Everybody.
Maybe cynical too. Yes. I think a couple people might have said Mascherano. But for the most part, everybody's saying we should have just kept Tata. Now, my question is, did you really think that it has to be that everybody thought we were going to get Xavi, and that's what everybody wanted?
Yes.
Because I was talking to Chris earlier today about how, I don't know, and it was before this news broke. I don't know why I forgot to bring up Mascherano, because this was the only other option. It was Xavi or Mascherano, because we ran through the list of people that it won't be last episode. Yeah. And we said it'll probably be Xavi, and I guess I didn't get into Mascherano because I thought that it would be Xavi. I was like, they must have figured out a way to convince Xavi to come here. And I never brought up Mascherano. But Mascherano was the only other option. A former teammate on both the national and club level in Barcelona, coaches the U20 Argentinian team, which we're going to get into that in a second. And he coached Redondo. He'll probably bring some U20 players over here now, right? And might not even have to be U22 designation, right? Might bring them over for the cheap. So it made sense that he was either Xavi or Mascherano, and you guys were all okay with, hey, I just want Tata out. But I'm kind of curious now, like, are you guys still good with Tata out? Because I'm seeing a lot of Tata ins now, but Tata's gone apparently to Rosario.
I mean, look, I didn't see this coming at all, Danny. I thought that we would get a bigger name just for the notoriety in terms of like where this team is trying to go. It's either that or give me. Listen, to be honest, I don't know if I'm exaggerating here. I would have taken the Javi babysitter that we have on the bench now versus
Javi Morales.
Yes. I would have taken him because if you're going to give me a guy, okay, well, I guess we'll talk about.
But this is the problem. You say, if you're going to give me a guy, and Sean will say, if you're going to give me a guy, and Dennis will say, if you're going to give me a guy, and Mike V will say, if you're going to give me a guy. Nobody cares what you guys want. It's what Messi wants. And Messi was only going to play for people that he was familiar with. And although Javi Morales, technically he's familiar with, he was the assistant, okay? Like he wasn't going to get the job.
He was an interim coach.
Okay, yeah, exactly. He wasn't going to get the call up, okay? There was more of a chance of Busquets going into retirement and onto the sideline than Javi Morales, okay? So, although, like, we said it on Tuesday or whenever it was that we last had this episode, we said, whoever it is going to have some type of history with Messi, which is the case. And, I mean, that's basically it. Like, that was the requirement, I believe.
I guess. I mean, look what David Reichardt's saying. Positive spin. He was a goated center back. He should be able to help our bum-ass defense, Listen, Phil Neville was a freaking right back or a left back. He didn't help our defense that much.
David, this is the thing. And this is why I don't understand why Mas, and I don't know, I'm going by what you said, Chris, that Mas said that he doesn't care about defense. He just wants to be extra aggressive. Then why bring in a defensive coach? And again,
yes,
I am not going to come here and lie to you and act like I watch Argentinian U20 games and that I'm extremely familiar. I know the headlines, right? Like over the last couple of years, I keep up with CONMEBOL. I know the headlines. I know the overarching story behind Mascherano as he led the team, but I don't know the specifics. I don't know how great that defense was with him at the helm, or how poor it was, or if he plays a low block, or if he's aggressive. I don't know the specifics. I know the overarching story, which we'll get into in a moment. But
yeah,
honestly, I would assume he made his career as a defensive center, a center back, and a defensive midfielder. That's him. I'm assuming that his mentality is based on the defensive end, and he's going to bring some of that, I would assume, to this team. I don't think it's going to be extra aggressive. I could be wrong, but I would assume that. And the dude Abides is also correcting me. The U20 and U23 because of the Olympics. Yes, you're correct, because of the Olympics. So I don't know if Mas should be talking about how aggressive he wants to be when he just hired one of the better center backs over the last decade.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know who would have been a good fit. I'll tell you right now, I don't like the signing. And it hasn't even happened yet. Like it's not confirmed. Mas clearly stated in the press conference he's not going to confirm or deny, but that they are very close to finishing with a certain person. Which
I think it's out there enough where I feel like it's almost done. So should we go into this episode saying that allegedly?
Allegedly, yes. I mean, that's the safe word, right? I mean,
all right. So allegedly, he is going to be the new man to play. Okay, so real quick, for those of you that are not familiar with Mascherano, Argentine, he came up in the EPL with West Ham, then went to play for Liverpool, and eventually signed with Barcelona, the Pep Guardiola Barcelona. When he went to play for Pep, he ended up converting to center back. Now, one thing that I do like about Mascherano, because for those of you that don't know, center backs and defensive midfielders are my two favorite positions in soccer. That's what I used to like to play. I love defense. And he was an undersized center back. Reason that this stood out to me a little bit, and maybe I'm overthinking things, right? Because this is all brand new. This is instant reaction that you're getting from me.
Yeah.
Our defense wasn't the best. But towards the end of the season, I felt like everybody was saying that there was one specific center back that was playing better than the rest. Who was that center back?
I mean, I imagine it's right there.
Noah Allen. And what was the beef with Noah Allen? He's undersized. Mascherano's also undersized. And I don't know if that bodes well for Noah Allen. I don't know if he's going to come in and be like, oh, South Florida product, forget this guy. I don't know which way that's going to go, but I would assume that if Noah Allen is going to have success at center back, this could be a very welcomed addition for him, because as an undersized center back playing in one of the toughest leagues and one of the best teams of all time, that Barcelona team, I think that would be great to have Mascherano kind of teaching him the ways, because he also excelled as a center back, as an undersized center back, not your typical size. I think he was like 5'8", 5'9", right? So more or less Noah Allen's height. So that's one of my instant reactions when I heard this. I was like, okay, well, that's a positive. Hopefully that bodes well for Noah Allen. Also, go ahead. No, go.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he also has the second most caps of any Argentinian player ever, I believe. So he's played in big games. He has the brain. He played under Pep Guardiola. He has played alongside Messi, Busquets, Alba. So he is the brain, right? The reason everybody wanted Xavi is the reason that everybody should be okay with Mascherano. Now, what's the difference? That Xavi has some experience coaching in Barcelona, right? He got that experience. And Mascherano, on the other hand, went and he coached Argentina, and the results weren't necessarily the best. And Cynical Tube was saying Monster Match was his nickname. I thought it was El Jefecito, but Monster Match, maybe, I don't know. Chris?
I mean, look, Francisco Garcia saying Maradona, greatest player, worst coach. So, like, I was looking at this guy's bona fides, right? So, like, he played with River Plate, Corinthians. He played for Liverpool, then Barcelona for, like, most of his career. I was looking at the time he played for Liverpool. Like, I don't know much, guys. I know that these teams played, like, in 100 fucking tournaments. But Liverpool was, like, not really necessarily winning it all during the period that he was playing with them.
That was their down period. After 2006, they didn't win anything for a while.
Yeah, and then he goes to Barcelona, and of course, like, Messi, right? So that's it. That's all I have to say about that. And then he goes to Hebel China Fortune. God knows what he did there.
But the thing is, with Mascherano, the reason that he worked so well with Pep is because he was a very accurate passer, right? He played in the midfield, went back to the center back. Very accurate passer. He likes to build up the back. Well, Pep did. I'm assuming, and again, if anybody in the chat is familiar with the U20 Argentina team, I'm not. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I am. I know the results. I know the stories. I don't know the specifics. I'm assuming that he takes some of that with him, and I would assume that he likes to play that way also. I believe he likes to play with a single striker. I do know that Redondo, when he did play Redondo during the Olympics, I believe it was, he had him come in as a sub at center back once. So maybe we might see Redondo at center back at some point. Like, I need to take a deep dive. And unfortunately, this news came out on a Friday. I work on Friday, so I haven't had a chance to take a deep dive into Mascherano's tactics, the way he plays his team, and all that other stuff. I'm hoping we can. But one other thing that I do know of Mascherano as a player is that he was like Sergio Ramos for Barcelona, right? Everybody thought that he was a little dirty. He'll get you your fair share of cards. Like, Mascherano was that gritty player that Sergio Ramos was for Real Madrid. Mascherano was for Barcelona. So you're getting that.
I want to mention this because Herman Melzi, and this is the first time we've seen your name. So, like, shout out that you're here. Like and sub for those of you that haven't done so yet. Free 99, guys. Mentioning here, yep, options are limited for MLS coaching. Listen, when you have Messi on your team, along with three...
That's not true.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
People aren't leaving their jobs in the middle of the season. Remember, most of these... That's the one downfall to our calendar, is that right now, it's the middle of the season.
Unacceptable. We could have gotten somebody else, Danny. You're kidding me? We cooked this up in freaking 3-4 days.
Because there were limited options. You reach out to the 3 or 4 options, and that's it.
There's no way that we couldn't have been able to either wait another week or two and wait for something to free up. Like, Javi could have babysat this team until February, No.
And well, first of all, there are no games from now until February, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you don't think that he would have been able to you don't think that they'd be able to get a coach in February? Again, maybe this
Again,
is
it's still middle of the season. It's still the middle of the season. Their season doesn't end until May.
Listen, Stancy, shout out to you. You're the true captain right here. You're the true captain right here. You kidding me?
So for everybody, you guys know you're watching the Battered Herons, and you know you get very unique facts and very interesting things here, right? We do real journalistic investigation.
Yes.
But something that I want to bring it up, that I'm surprised that people don't bring it up more, because whenever I think of Mascherano, there's one thing that always pops in my head, and I don't know why nobody's even mentioned it. So obviously on the Battered Herons, you're going to get it. You know what's the most interesting fact of Javier Mascherano?
Give it to me.
He blocked a very important shot in the 2014 World Cup in the semifinals. And you know, in the process of doing that, he ripped his asshole.
No way. Are you serious?
I swear.
Like, full-blown rip.
Yeah. And look, this is why I'll never be a journalist, because if I was a journalist, whenever I wrote about Mascherano, I'd be like, best known for ripping his asshole during the World Cup of the 2000. Like, that is the most. I don't understand why people don't talk about this more. Like, he literally put his ass on the line for Argentina.
Oh my goodness. That's like the ultimate sacrifice.
That is. He put his ass on the line for the team. They won the game. So stuff that you only get in Battered Herons. So.
Look at this. Country overhaul.
100%. 100%.
My goodness.
So there you go. That is, I'm surprised more people don't talk about this. Every time I hear, because before, now we're going to talk about him a lot, but I would hear about him once in a blue, right? You don't hear about Mascherano, but whenever I would hear his name, I'd be like, oh, that's right, he ripped his asshole. And I would always think that. And now he's our coach.
Oh my goodness. That's yeah. Those is saying we are done. Yeah. And I think Dennis is speaking for a lot of us, saying, I like Enter Brian putting my ass on the line. So,
and if just in case anybody is doubting it, go ahead. It's a quick Google search, and I promise you, it's something that I've always thought was really funny, but that nobody talks about. Go back and check it out. It is 100% a fact.
Stancy's asking, guys, do you really believe Tata left for personal reasons? Stancy, check out the first 10 minutes of the show. But I'll tell you right now, generally, it's bullshit.
We went 10 minutes on Tata to start the show. I'm with Chris, where I don't think that it was personal reason. I think he was almost forced out. But I don't find the story is not one of those that is far-fetched. Like, it's believable. I don't think it's true, but it's believable.
As far as like Mascherano, like I mean, everybody basically picked Tata over Mascherano, no? So like asking Mascherano in or out from the chat, I think everybody's going to be Mascherano out. Like,
all right, well, let's get into his coaching career.
Yeah, of course. I want to do that because I'm looking at his experience. I mean, he's only coached the U20 and U23 team.
Right. And again, for those of you that maybe just tuned in, I prefaced all of this by saying I don't watch the Argentina U20 team, so I don't know the specifics. I do keep up with CONMEBOL, so I know the overarching story. So that's what I'm kind of going to be going into. Okay. Let's start with the fact that he got that job, right? And everybody is thank you. Yeah, it's not going to be very long, Sean. It's not going to be very long. Everybody said they don't like Tata because he can't win the big games and he can't win tournaments. Is that now why we did not like Tata, right? That's what everybody was saying. Can't win tournaments.
Nope.
So let's go into Mascherano's career. He won a friendly tournament when he first got there. Cute. Boom. Friendly tournament. He goes and he plays in the South American U20 tournament. the one in which you qualify for the World Cup for the U20s. He doesn't end up in the top 4. I believe he gets eliminated in the group stage.
A round of 16.
Okay, in round 16. Okay. So he doesn't end up in the top 4. So they don't qualify for the World Cup. That's the first failure as far as tournaments go. Now, the World Cup was supposed to be played in Indonesia. Because of some controversy there with Israel and all this other stuff, they ended up getting that taken away from them. And guess who gets to host the World Cup all of a sudden? Argentina. And guess what? Even though they didn't qualify for the World Cup, all of a sudden, they're the host country. Guess what? You get to play in the tournament. So guess what? Mascherano, you get another shot at it. Now, to be clear, when they didn't qualify, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, he was ready to resign because he was so disappointed that they didn't qualify. But then they convinced him to stay when all of a sudden, oh, guess what? You got another shot at it. So go ahead. They get into the club, not the club, I'm sorry, the U20 World Cup. Get eliminated by Nigeria. That's the first time that Nigeria ever beats a South American team. Ever. So another failure. Stays on. And we come to the Olympics. Another tournament. Now, it started off very weird. I don't know if you guys remember. It was just a couple months ago, the whole Morocco-Argentina game where they got 106-minute goal to tie the game. They had to evacuate for an hour and a half, come back, play 3 minutes in an empty stadium, blah, blah, blah. They end up losing that game. They end up getting eliminated, I want to say in the quarterfinals or another failure in the tournament. He has had no success with the Argentina U20 team. And going into most of those tournaments, they were one of the favorites to win it all because of their roster. So you go in as one of the favorites in all of those tournaments, and you have close to no success. Eliminated in the group stage or in the quarterfinals, you lose to a team that had never beaten a South American team ever in Nigeria. How are we supposed to feel confident in this? France beat them.
France beat them. France beat them in in
the Olympics.
Yes, in the quarterfinals.
Nigeria beat them in the World Cup. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So no success. Why are we supposed to feel good about this? And that's a serious question.
Because I'll give you the answer that everybody is probably saying, because he knows Messi. And he has his phone number, and he's from Argentina. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Like, I don't know how else to say. Like, there's nothing else. This guy's a loser. Well, okay. Let me tone it down a little bit, Danny. So he is a person that has not had success as a coach, and as a player without Messi, not that great either.
Well, this is where my worry is. My worry is, hey, Tata, although you had the greatest regular season of all time, you're not good in tournaments, guy. And I'm sorry, we want to win some of these tournaments. So let's bring a guy that's never won a tournament before. That should work out better. And not only that, he was 3 times one of the top favorite teams to win the tournaments and couldn't get past the quarterfinals. How is this going to be better than Tata?
I would have preferred, like Francisco saying, he might end up as a great coach, but right now has 0 experience. I mean, look, I was thinking him in the car ride home. I was thinking, like, what is this? Is he going to pull off an Eric Spoelstra, Miami Heat sort of deal here? Like, Javi Morales would have had a better opportunity of pulling off the Eric Spoelstra deal. I mean, listen, Danny, I'm not lying to you. I don't want Javi Morales, but if you're going to give me a Javi that at least I'm like, okay, I really don't have expectations, right? He was an interim coach. He babysat the team for a couple of weeks until Tata came in, and then now he's going to hold the reins and hold it down for a season. Literally listen to Messi all season long. Do whatever he says. But now we got like a coach. I don't
want to put this completely on Messi.
But like at the end of the day, he's gonna play or coach it up anyway.
I know what I mean by I don't want to put it completely on Messi is because I think, and I could be wrong, right? But let's say hypothetically, you and I were running the teams. Obviously, we would ask Messi if he has any preferences, right?
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't even consider. Like, I'm not even gonna insult him with throwing Jim Curtin's name out there because I know that's an immediate no. So you already know the names that you can maybe present to him, and maybe you could convince him to say yes to like a Jim Curtin or something. Somebody brought up I forgot who it was. Somebody brought Terry Henry up. Okay, I hadn't even considered that. They played together in Barcelona back in the day. Maybe that would have been an option, but hey, he's had success in that. Well, I don't know if it's success, but he's coached in the MLS.
Yes.
So I don't know. And for those of you that
are success as a player in the MLS.
Now, there is one thing that I do want to say that it hasn't rubbed me the wrong way. I get where it's coming from, but and real quick, Henry doesn't have enough experience, and Mascherano does. All right, this is the one thing I want to say. Everybody's like, "Oh, great, Messi picked another friend. Oh, great, nepotism. Blah 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 blah." This is what happens when you have great players, right? Like, what do you expect? For those of you that are familiar with the NBA, who's the best player in the NBA over the last 10 years?
I mean, LeBron James.
LeBron James. He had a podcast with this guy called JJ Redick. Guess who's head coach of the LA Lakers right now?
Yeah.
JJ Redick. Like, this is not something new. Like, stop acting so stupid to think that, oh my God, this is nepotism. Oh, Inter Miami couldn't turn me off anymore. You know what? I'm sick of this. I hate Messi. Shut up. Shut up. It's not that fucking serious. This is what happens when you have great players. They pick who they want to fucking play for. Like, that's it. Like, come on, relax. It's not that fucking, like, it's so annoying. Like, you're really that surprised that he gets to pick the coach? That's usually what great players do. Kobe got Phil Jackson fired back in 2003, and he got him rehired back in 2009. Like, come on. Like, this is what they do.
Well, speaking of Thierry Henry, he had no success with CF Montreal. Sat in 9th place every single year from what I just read. He did have success as a player. Now, again, the thing that scares me about this guy, Javier Mascherano, is that I don't even know how to say his name correctly. Mascherano is as silent. Is it not? Do I emphasize it? This guy apparently has not had any success if it isn't alongside Messi.
And look, I agree. Look, and I'm not saying that I don't get where it's coming from, right? Because everybody knew that the short list was this big because it had to be Messi. What I don't understand is why people are acting surprised by it. Like, you should have been outraged about it when you found out Tata was about to get fired, or when you were saying Tata out, because you should have known that if Tata out, then Messi friend in. Like, how did you not know that? Like, are you really that surprised? Like, oh, Tata out, Tata out, Tata out. Oh, wait, Messi's friend in? No, bring Tata back. No, we should have known that this is the way it was going to go. So why are you acting surprised? Did you really think that Jim Curtin was a possibility?
No way. There's no way.
No, of course not. Come on.
Mascherano might just be the answer to what kills Inter, a defensive type coach. This is what Manny Villas says, and that might be true. But then again, like, he might be such a I don't believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe that he's like this fucking brain that's gonna like.
But he tore his asshole for Argentina.
Okay, all right. Do I think he has heart? Do I think that he's got grit? Right?
He was a dirty player.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, as a Sergio Ramos-esque player, then yes, I do believe that he has that like gulliness about him, right? But does the gulliness translate to like being a good coach? Like, literally, this is the worst job to have, the best and worst, but mostly worst because like the expectations are just so catastrophically high. Like, this kid is coming in literally with the highest.
I mean, as far as
84,
coaching
he's a year
age,
older than us.
He's 40. I mean, I guess as a coach, that's pretty young.
Oh my God, no, for sure. Soccer Daddy's saying Masche is gonna find me. For sure, he's gonna throw. He's gonna find me. He's gonna hurt me.
I mean, obviously I'm not a Barcelona fan, so he's one of those players that would annoy me. But 100%, he's got that fire in him, and hopefully he can transfer it to his players. It didn't work for Argentina. I don't know how it's going to work for us, but I digress. Now, I saw somebody in the chat. I lost the comment, but said we should give him a chance. For sure. I mean, we have no other choice, right, to give him a chance. Hope for the best.
Yeah. Right here, Angel. I think we should give him a chance.
Shout out to Angel. Now, but this is the thing. How many people said, with this roster, all you need is half a brain and you can win it all? So many people. Mike Longin, Inter Miami show, shout out to him, said it like, oh, all you need is a decent mind and you can win it all. Tata's gone. You said he didn't have half a mind. Are you going to tell me Mascherano either? Because at this point, you're the problem. If you think that this coach also cannot be that half a mind, because somebody has to figure it out with this team if this team is just a half a mind away from winning it all. This is a league of parity, and I understand where the expectations are, but the fact that everybody's ready to fire the coach because the expectations aren't met, like, you really think about it.
Listen, I'm very sad, man. And then on top of that, Jorge Mas was asked from one of the reporters about the status of Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, and Chris Henderson. He answered about Jordi Alba, about Luis Suarez, just generally. Totally forgot to answer about Chris Henderson until the reporter asked again, and he's like, oh, Chris is still here. He's still here. The guy's an afterthought now.
We know that he's going to go to Atlanta. And if it wasn't clear enough, the fact that Sanlehi was sitting at his side during this press conference and Chris Henderson was nowhere to be seen, like, obviously he's gone. We knew that he was gone. We knew he was going to Atlanta. They're just waiting for Atlanta season to end.
Dude, this season, right? Like, if Chris Henderson doesn't stay here, because they were talking about how they're going to manage to sort of like fix the lineup and like bring players and all this stuff. Dude, if Chris Henderson is not here and we got used car salesman and this new coach here for next year, and this used car salesman doesn't know how to play with the monopoly money here in the MLS, we're going to have some fucking problems.
All right. So we just got done ranting about how unhappy we are about it for the last half hour or so. Okay?
It's pretty serious, Sergeant.
So are there any positives here? I'll try to find some first. I told you the Noah Allen thing. I think that Noah Allen, if he decides to give Noah Allen a chance, which fingers crossed he does, I think Noah Allen could really benefit from having Mascherano, which was an undersized center back in his career. I think that that's one positive. Two, he's accustomed to coaching Redondo. Redondo has looked good for Argentina.
That's a big plus.
I think that hopefully he knows how to unlock Redondo, even though he didn't start a lot for Argentina, but he did play. He even tried him out as center back a couple of games coming in as a sub. So we'll see how that goes. And the fact that you keep the Barca 4 happy, because I'm assuming all these guys are happy, right? You didn't want to mess that up, did you?
No, of course you're not going to want to mess that up. You want to keep that as intact as possible.
So I think those are all positives.
I do love the whole Redondo relation that he has, because I feel like Redondo, after he got injured, played differently. He started making sort of better strides. And I feel like now that we still have Redondo, I think that that's going to pan out very, very well. Noah Allen, I think it's great that he's, as an undersized center back, it could be very relatable to Mascherano. Aside from that, the only other positive I could think is the unknown, right? I mean, like, we know a little bit about his experience, right? So, like, maybe the unknown of this guy is a good thing. But typically, I don't like unknown when it comes to coaching hires, especially when there's such a high expectation. Like, if we were in a rebuilding phase, then I'd be like, okay, I'm okay with this guy. But, like, this isn't a coach just to be like, oh, well, he's going to coach the team. Like, no, the expectation is so high, like in so many levels. Somebody mentioned it. I forgot who mentioned it in the chat. I don't know if it was Dennis Lopez or someone else, but they said Tata was expected to get multiple trophies. I think it was Sean. And this coach is going to have the same expectations.
I'll give you another positive. At least I think it's a positive. Some people might disagree with me because they really don't like the Argentinian influence that's coming over into Miami. He's been coaching the U20 Argentina team and U23 for the last, 3 years or so? The fact
it's been
that
the last 3-4 years.
The fact that he has so much familiarity with the youth in Argentina can only bode well, because obviously if you're making it to the Argentina U20 team, that means you have some potential, some untapped talent.
Yeah.
And some of those kids might not be making it to the senior roster, but he's seen them. He knows that they have the potential. And he might put the word out there like, this kid could help us, not getting paid a lot right now. Maybe he doesn't have to come as a U22 initiative player. Maybe he gets paid the minimum, $500,000 or $600,000, whatever the hell it is. Okay. And I think that because he's become so familiar with the youth in Argentina, because when you're coaching the U20 Argentinian men national team, that's what you do. You become familiar and scout all the young talent in Argentina.
Absolutely.
I think that is a big positive. Now, how his relationship was with his players, I don't know. But if you can recognize some of these young kids with potential that maybe aren't set to make the senior team, but you can sell them on, hey, you're going to make $500,000, live in the United States in Miami, and you get to play with Messi. I think that there's a chance that we might see a nice flood of young Argentinian talent that he's recognized that could be good, come and play for our team. And I'm not saying that we're going to bring 8-9 players, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see 2-3 young kids that come over all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, do big things for us. Maybe center backs, there's a lot of things. So I think that would be a positive.
I think also one of the issues that I could see is one of the negatives is I think that this screams calendar is out. I think this because I think that him, and you speak about him being a center back, you speak about him being a defensive player,
defensive midfielder also,
So as a person that played it in that capacity, I imagine that they are very, very observant of the relationships between the center backs and the goalkeeper. And I have a feeling that Ustadi's not under contract, if I'm not mistaken, next year, right?
No,
I'm not sure. I have to look.
I'm not 100% yet. And just to be clear, for anybody that's watching this, like, oh, why are these guys not more prepared? Chris literally just got home from work. I've only been home for like an hour or two, but I've been with my kids since I got home. Like, this show was completely reactionary. We had no plan on doing this, so we don't have necessarily things that we would usually have as far as research and stuff ready to go. This is all off the top of our head, reactionary. So
I actually looked it up here. He's signed for the rest of the 2024 season. Yeah, so he's actually not signed for the next year. Now, other people are actually mentioning Drake gone, or some people are even calendar in. And Vice City Luke is saying 100% new goalkeeper and center backs coming. And Ustadi is out for now.
I think that I think Calendar's done, and not that I want him to be done. I like Calendar, but I have a feeling that we might see somebody new, somebody who can play out of the back a little better. So I definitely do think that Drake might be gone. I'd be happy to see him come back though, but I do think that he might be done.
Look, as far as positives are concerned, I mentioned mine. The unknown, the relationship that he has with Redondo. I mean, the other positive, I guess, is Messi, right? Like, he has Messi. I mean, you can't really fuck that one up real bad. The only other thing is we don't know whether he subs in the 85th minute or in the 60th minute.
Let's take a look.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's something I guess that we could research.
Keep going. I'm gonna look at the last couple of games that they played.
I wonder if that makes a difference. So we'll look at that, I guess, while Danny looks that up. But other than that, I don't know. Another thing I guess we could look at is like how many goals has the team that he's coached scored? Like the U23 team, I believe, is the team where he's had, I guess, maybe the most success. I mean, they scored they scored in the 2024 CONMEBOL. They scored 1 goal against Brazil, 3 goals against Paraguay, 2 goals against Venezuela, 3 goals against Uruguay, 5 goals against Chile, 2 goals against Argentina. They tied 1 goal with Paraguay, 3 goals against Uruguay, 2 goals against Venezuela, 3 goals against Argentina. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look and see who are the players.
The first thing I went to was the game that they got eliminated against France just now in the Olympics. His first sub was at halftime.
Okay.
Second sub, 64th minute. Third sub, 76th minute. Fourth and fifth sub in the 90th minute.
Okay, that sounds sexy. At least that's going to be appealing to some of the people that hated Tata's approach, which was like subbing people in the 75th plus minute. Yeah. So, I mean, that's something that's good. I would imagine that that's going to be great, especially, look, okay, I'm going to give you another positive that I think works for Javier, is that since he is accustomed to coaching U20, U22s, and this is something that Jorge Mas sort of kind of mentioned, is that he wants a coach that's going to be able to connect not just with the big guys, but with the academy kids too. And so that's where I think that maybe he has an advantage, is that because he knows working with U20 and U22 players that he could be able to probably get the maximum from players like David Ruiz, Kremaki, I mean, even Yannick Bright. So that's one thing where I do think that he has a huge positive with.
That's not bad. I can see that.
Yeah, that's a big positive for him, to be honest.
So I could definitely see that. Let me see this Morocco game. Go ahead,
well, but go ahead and pull that up. But I just want to mention something here that I've hid as a comment. Tank is mentioning Mike V is going to have to worship Mascherano from now on. Listen, Mike V, if you're watching this now or later when this is recorded, you're going to have to stand on business, baby. You got what you wanted. You got Mike V. You got Tata out. Mike V, you need to stand on business and ride Mascherano until the wheels fall off.
Argentina's game against Morocco. First sub in the 55th minute. Second sub in the 69th minute. 3 subs in the 69th minute. And then one last sub in the 80th minute. Okay, so he's subbing more frequently. He's a subber.
He's a subber. We like subbers. Everybody here likes a subber, right? Okay, nobody likes to reserve their players so long.
Okay, so yeah, it's looking like it's the Olympic website. It's such a difficult website to navigate. All right, so I just looked at those 2 games, but there you go. Those are just 2 examples. Looks like he might be a subber, as Chris said it. So he's a subber.
Yeah, it's look, Tank. I am not about to fix my grammar for this guy. Let this guy coach 1 game, and then I'll try to figure out how to say his last name correctly.
Mike V is in hiding. Mr. Krabs says, I want Mascherano to prove everyone wrong. I think everybody wants that.
Of course.
I think if you're watching this podcast, I'm assuming that out of the 140 people on here right now, that at least 100 of you are rooting for Inter Miami to succeed. So I think we're all with you, Mr. Krabs. I think we're all with you. We just have our doubts because he hasn't looked good so far. And we had Tata, which what did pretty good. Like at least he had a track record. And then you say, oh, Tata doesn't do good in tournaments. Mascherano doesn't either. So I don't know.
I want to mention something. Soccer Daddy's here saying especially Chris. I want this team to succeed big time. Okay? We do a show about this team. We have season tickets. Like Danny and I are very, very invested in the success of this team. And even the 100%. Demise. Like we still go. We still talk about this team. So like we want the best of this team. And shout out to Angel. You're the real MVP tonight. Even though you're very patient. I give you a lot of credit for being patient about this signing. like and subscribe. Okay. Now, the thing I want to mention is it might seem like I hate this guy and I think he's going to be. Look, I'm just giving you the emotional perspective the day of this whole announcement. Do I think that he could be a success? I think maybe his connections to the young kids, his success with Messi on the pitch. You know, there's a lot of positives. There is a lot of positives.
And Vic is asking, why ain't Beckham and the masses pushing for a raise in the salary cap? They are, and there are other owners across the MLS. Even though it's a single entity, technically they're owners or have part ownership of the league. They are pushing for it, but the majority don't want it because they want this to be a league of parity, which I don't mind. I do wish that they would bring it up a little bit, though. I think it is way too low. But
I want to mention, Mr. Krabs, I'm not wearing a tracksuit. I'm wearing a sweater. Okay. And then Sergeant is saying, I'm doing too much. Am I doing too much, Danny?
Yes.
You really think I'm doing too much? You really think that my reaction is too much? This is the same reaction that was all over Twitter today. Am I right or am I wrong?
It's too much.
You're going to tell me that this is acceptable, what happened today? I mean, we have no other choice but to accept it. But like,
there were two options. Once I heard, Xavi's going to stick with his sabbatical because he wants to go back to Europe, there was only one other option. I was like, I wonder if they're going to surprise me with something. But there was only two options. Supposedly they had three people that they had in mind. I have no idea who that third person could have been. Maybe Busquets, maybe. But in reality, once Xavi said no, Mascherano was the only other option.
This is where I think I'll agree. Leroy is saying Twitter people do too much. But like, dude, I don't listen. The problem is when you get into coach hiring, it's always going to be very extreme one direction to another. And you've watched sports for a very long time, Danny. Mm-hmm. You know this about coach hiring and firing. Like, there's one thing I do love about coach hiring and firing. Like, this is pure talk. Like, this is sports talk, like in the blood, like in the DNA. I love this shit. But like, dude, it's not wrong to be able to like look at this and be critical of the signing. Like, I don't know. I felt like Inter Miami kind of left a little bit on the table. I feel like they could have gotten somebody better.
I think maybe I'm looking at this in a different way than a lot of people, because for me, I'm disappointed because I don't think that it's gonna. He doesn't make me excited. Like, he doesn't make me happy. I'm hopeful. But he doesn't make me excited. But I'm not surprised. Maybe that's why I'm looking at this a little different. See, so, you know what? How I'm approaching this? I am not surprised because I knew it was either Xavi or Mascherano. And when Javi wasn't coming, I knew Mascherano was probably going to be it. The way I'm going about this is that I'm kind of upset at all the Tata out people. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, all the Tata out. Where now you're saying Tata in?
Yeah.
Come on. What did you think was going to happen? That every time that you guys said Tata out throughout the season, what did I immediately say afterwards? Who's coming in then? Who's going to replace him? I always said maybe Xavi. That's the only acceptable name. And he apparently didn't want it. That's it. So now here we go.
Dusan is mentioning it won't be exciting. 0-0 scores coming. I don't think it's going to be that bad because we still have really good players on this team, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, listen, Jorge Mas was very explicit in saying he doesn't care about defense. He doesn't care about structured 5 or 4 in the back. He wants goals. He wants pressure. He wants high-scoring games. So I think that sets the tone and basically tells Mascherano, okay, Mitsubishi, Mascherano. Yeah, whatever. It tells him that the expectation is like super high. And
I literally said this on Tuesday. Boom. I literally said this on Tuesday. I said the grass isn't always greener. And here we are a couple days later. All right, Chris. I don't think I have much more things to say except batterfans.com, 20% off, ho 24. Get your Noah Allen or any other shirt, we got plenty of shirts on there. If you're for some reason listening to us and you're a fan of another team, we got shirts on there for other teams also. Chris, do you have any final words, or anybody in the chat have any final questions before we head out of here on a random Friday night? I don't remember the last. Have we ever done an episode on a Friday night?
I think we've done, if I'm not mistaken, I think we did a post game.
Oh, maybe they had like a random, maybe a random Friday game. Maybe, yeah. They had one a couple weeks ago. The first playoff game was on a Friday.
Yes. Isn't there a playoff game today?
Tomorrow.
Okay, that's good. I got time to make my bets. LaRue Douglas is saying Mitsubishi. Listen, last words, Danny. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Mitsubishi today.
This is an instant reaction. Give it a couple days. We'll be back next week, as we were supposed to be, because this week was supposed to be off, and just let it settle. Right? We're gonna get to have a chance to look him up. Maybe we get to see maybe his tactics. I've heard he likes to play a 4-3-2-1 is what I've heard. Oh God,
we should have just put Federico up, and we should have put him as the coach. We talked about this on the phone, Danny.
We did, and I told Chris he was crazy. So I'm gonna tell you the same thing, Tank. You're crazy. Let's see. Maybe a couple of days to digest this. We were supposed to do this in Spanish later tonight with Solana and Xavier Laos, but we couldn't make our schedules work with theirs because they are busy, and apparently we have no lives because we're at home on Friday night. So shout out to them for having a life. But I think that's about it. Anybody in the chat want to say anything else? Oh, I think we'll end it with this comment right here. Angel's been on the money.
Mike V out of here, Mike.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed.
I don't know if you noticed, but ever since Tata got fired, like Mike V has not been around here live. He's been just like lurking in the shadow. He's been doing all this kind of like heebie-jeebies in the background. Finally got his wish, and now he's gone.
He called in on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
Yes,
he called in.
Yes, he did. But now we got a new guy, Mike V. Where you at?
We want to hear from you, Mike V. Let's put out an APV. Person. Let's put out an APV. Where in the world is Mike V?
Yeah.
Does he have a Twitter?
Yes, he does have a Twitter. Yes.
Okay, we got to put it up there. Where's Mike V? Where you at, Mike V? I can't wait for the Mascherano out. I saw them already on here, so those will be coming up soon.
Yeah, Mike V is at the airport. He's probably driving Tata to the airport.
All right, so that's it for this impromptu reaction video of Javi Mascherano. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. You don't understand how much that helps us grow the channel, help other people find us, and that's how you support us, putting out 2 random fucking episodes on our week off.
Yeah.
So
it's ridiculous.
If you're listening on audio, please thank you for listening all the way, and please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that other good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And as always, for those of you in the chat, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us for the last hour and 4 minutes. As always, you guys are the best part of the show. We don't just say that, we mean it. And Tank finally has a good comment. Mike V is fridge guy. So shout out to you, Tank, for you finally putting out a good comment. We appreciate that. And we'll be back. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back next week. And hopefully we can digest this news, take a little more deep dive into who Mascherano is as a coach, and come back with some more informative stuff. So again, like and subscribe. And until the next one, have a good one.
Later, nerds.